Welcome to another edition of Vigorously with me, Val Kleinhans. Another lovely gothy edition with Silent Mass. Ammo is in the building. I am thrilled to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's our favorite season. This is the perfect time to be sitting down and talking with each other right now because we're here for it completely. When or what was it, I should say, that sparked your interest in the spooky things and the goth aesthetic?
Uh, I don't know. I feel like it was a natural progression. It wasn't like I went looking for it. It was more of there was a draw. Um, I don't know. I just always kind of wore black and liked
Yeah.
lighting candles and reading
Yes.
tarot and things like that. But I feel like when I was growing up, it was like more new age type stuff. So I was like very into new age and very into punk rock. And I don't know. I guess I was just like a punk kid who wore all black and liked to play with fire. I don't know.
And it and then it evolved from there. Makes
Yeah.
it complete and total sense. Well, how did Silent Mass come to be?
Um, it was quite an evolution. I feel like the first this album, the Great Chaos, was kind of a collection of songs that I had written over the years, while in other projects and whatnot, and just kind of like sat, in the on the back burners like demos or just things like I just kind of wrote them and then, put them away and forgot about them. And in around 20 end of 2019, um, my label for my other band, Brass Box, was doing a compilation for the sound. Um, and it was a tribute comp, and the
Yeah.
sound is like one of my favorite bands for my youth. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna do one just under my own name because I did a cover under Brass Box, which is like another project of mine. And then I did my own project, and I was like, you know what? I think I want to start recording my own stuff because after I recorded that single, um, I was like, okay, I can probably just like do this by myself. Um,
Okay.
and so I just kind of started experimenting and taking my demos and messing around with them. And then my drummer now, Alex, he was also a drummer in my previous band, Black Flamingo. And I called him up and I was like, hey, do you want to do some drums? He kind of helped me flesh out the drums on the sound cover because I just programmed them myself and I kind of was didn't really know what I was doing. So he came and helped me and he's amazing drummer and percussionist and um so yeah, we just that song went over really well that I was just like, "Hey, come on by, let's like do this." And so it just kind of started with just working on music. It wasn't really a plan for anything. Like we
Mm.
weren't going to start a band or whatnot. I just kind of wanted to see what I could do. So it started as like a solo project. And originally the project was called just Ammo, but
Mhm.
there was like a lot of problems with that, personal issues, and then also like
Uh,
distribution stuff. So, which I didn't realize. I was like, no, that's my name. Like, who cares? Like, I could use that. And it was just, there was like numerous DJs. There's, I think, like a punk band or like a hardcore band that's on the East Coast named Ammo as well. So I ended up,
oh,
yeah, I like was like, I gotta change this. I also like kind of didn't want to use my name because I was like, oh, why did I do that? Now I have to be like in the front.
yeah.
It's all about me. I mean,
Damn it. Now I have to
I'm,
do the thing.
yeah. I mean, I'm still in the front. But there, like, I feel like naming a project something that's not your name gives you a little distance, I think. And then when something's like your name, you're kind of really connected to
Right.
it. Yeah, I kind of gave myself a deadline. I was like, I'm going to change the name. I gave myself a month, and then Rob, uh, my guitarist, and me kind of were just talking about it and went for a walk one night, came back and was like, I have it. And that was that.
Silent I was gonna ask who is coming up with these killer band names? Black Flamingo, Silent Mass. I was like, this is this one person or like the brains of many? Because that's incredible.
I mean, I guess, I don't know. Black Flamingo was, I guess I came up with it, but it was like in conversation, the name came up, and I was like,
Okay.
that's a band name. And that band, it's the whole concept was based around tropical goth. So Black Flamingo was
Oh,
kind of like a perfect fit for that. So that worked out. And Silent Mass was just, the idea was like going to church,
mhm.
and like kind of going to mass, and it being like the difference of being loud and quiet and whatnot. So just kind of walking around or like looking at churches and walk around the neighborhood and just
Yeah.
kind of talking about ideas. And that was kind of how it came up.
They can be churches can be inspiring places just for the architecture. It's like,
Yeah.
what? Like, take religion out of it. Just looking at these beautiful buildings will give you ideas for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel
That
like
makes a ton of sense.
everywhere we go, we definitely try to check out the local church, um, for, architecture and stained glass, like windows are
Yeah.
beautiful and statues and,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I feel like you may have hinted at this, but correct me if I'm wrong. Were you just always musical? Were you always interested in music? Did you play instruments?
Um, I guess, yeah, I mean, I was always kind of into music. I mean, early on, I think it started with, I was just telling someone else the other day that like I was thinking about what I would dance around the house to, and it was like Madonna, Paul
Yes.
Abdul,
Yes.
Ace of Base, Gloria Estefan.
Oh, yes, period. Listen, we
Yeah,
can conga. We can conga here. That's
right,
welcome.
exactly. We'll never not know all the lyrics to all
Mhm.
Gloria Estefan songs. If it just comes on, I'm like instantly singing it. It's kind of ridiculous,
Period.
but
She's an
um,
icon for a reason. She's
yeah,
earned her key status, really.
yeah. So, I was always like interested in music. And then I kind of, when I got older and kind of had a bit of my own free will to explore other things, I got into, well, my parents had like a lot of records, and they were really into classic rock and things. My dad's a huge Beatles fan. We had like the Rolling Stones records, the Doors, all that kind of stuff. So I remember listening a lot to the Doors when I was in high school, like early
Mm.
high school, like probably ninth grade or something like that. And then I quickly got into anarcho punk, and uh, things like Subhumans, Dead Kennedys. A childhood friend gave me a cassette tape with Dead Kennedys on one side and Subhumans on the other, and that kind of was
Yes.
that. That was
Period. That's all. That's where it
Yeah, that's
began.
all I
That's
needed to start ditching school to go buy records at the
yeah.
shop down the way.
I'm jealous. I didn't have a shop close enough to do that, but that is
Oh yeah,
definitely how I would have done my high school days if I
I mean,
had
it
that
wasn't
opportunity.
close. I definitely had to take a bus to another town, but
Oh, okay. You're
but it was
brave.
just
You're
one.
braver.
It was just one bus, so it wasn't hard.
Okay. You're braver than me. I was always afraid of getting in trouble. Always. I was like, my dumbass will get caught somehow for doing something like you weren't supposed to do. I was like, I'm not even going to do it because I feel like with my luck, I'm going to be the one that actually gets caught and gets in trouble for it.
Well, I mean, I think I got caught a lot, but my parents both worked full time, so
Mhm.
they would leave messages on the answering machine, and I would just get home and be like, delete.
I didn't
So
get that one. I didn't hear that one.
So I feel like I was able to get away with quite a bit just because my parents weren't around a lot.
You got it. Well, so the other part of the Silent Mass story here, you do blend a lot of different sounds into the music. I mean, whether it's post-punk, ethereal wave, shoegaze, 90s alternative, was it your intention to blend all of those sounds together, or did it just kind of happen?
Uh, I feel like it's kind of just like a normal, like it just kind of happened through osmosis. Like that's kind of what listen to most growing up and even now mostly. And I don't know. I feel like when I sit down to write, I'm not trying to do anything. I think lately I've been thinking about that a little bit more in my songwriting, like, oh, what direction do I want to go? I'm not just gonna like barf out a bunch of random
Yeah.
words and like kind of put it together. Um, but yeah, I don't know, like structuring things but I feel like the more I guess it's kind of an experiment because the more I think about things, the more I'm overthinking things and the
Mm.
less I am writing as much. So I feel like this experiment is kind of failing and I should just keep doing what I'm doing. Or
I'm
like
not
doing what I was
complaining.
doing. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah. And if the gray chaos is any indication, I mean, I we all would say, please keep doing what you're doing. For those who haven't heard it yet, tell us a little bit more about it, the gray chaos.
So the record is a compilation of songs. I kind of call them like vignettes through a period of time, different times throughout my life, and they all evoke different moods and feelings and things that I was kind of going through at the time. But there's like a commonality it's like a lot of ambiguous stuff and more about like facing yourself or kind of dealing with like emotions that I don't know, I tend to avoid. So it's just kind of how
We all do. Believe me, I'm medicated for the same reasons. Like,
yeah. I feel like
so
it's like writing music is kind of like a way to like figure that kind of shit out. It's like,
definitely.
I don't know how to express myself through actual words, so I'll just
Mhm.
make it make something that like is like how I feel, you know.
Right. And there's no rules to it, so you can do whatever the hell you want with it.
That
Whatever
is
words,
true.
whatever mood you want to set with whatever instruments and however you want to arrange them. It's entirely your choice. As I was reading a little bit more about you, I learned that you're into tarot, a little bit of the occult, at least. So does the occult maybe give you somehow that same sort of sense of confidence or just sense of relief, perhaps, maybe is a better word, that music does in that same vein?
I think in a way it does because it's still you're exploring yourself. So like with the
Mm,
tarot, if you look at cards, they're all archetypes of different, like they're just different archetypes of types of people that you meet when you go through life, and they evoke different feelings and meanings, and you attach meaning to them, and it helps um, kind of decipher things.
mm,
So when you're putting down, like say you're like put down a tarot card or something and it's a certain card, you can be like, oh, let me think about this. Like, how do I relate to this? What does this like um tell me? Because I feel like it's kind of a meditation practice too, where it's like kind of forcing you to think about stuff instead of avoiding it and kind of just like stuffing
right.
it down inside and being like, yeah, I'll deal with that later. Thank you. No, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Well, that's how we get to the point where, for example, we're not so terrified of the death card using the tarot example. Because for
Yeah,
anybody that doesn't know, like if you see that for the first time, you could be like, death, what? Like, I don't want that. But you don't realize that there could be multiple meanings associated with that card, whether it's like the death of a phase in your life, that
right.
that type of thing. What sparked your interest in tarot and making it part of the band, and you're selling this for, correct me if I'm wrong, it was the tarot box belt kit with the special cassette,
Yeah.
and totally fits the season. I love the idea. What's going on with like it sounds so special. Tell me more about that.
So a label reached out to us from Portland, Violet Hour Transmissions, and they were like, we really want to do a cassette tape release with you. And I was like, oh, I've been having this idea because
Oh,
when it's a cassette tape, and I feel like I don't know how many people really have cassettes, and I feel like people buy them to be supportive, and they usually come with a download card, and like if you're gonna buy something, I don't know, I just wanted to do something special and it was really good timing. And so I collaborated with the label and came up with the tarot box idea. And yeah, she's been really great. We hand wood burning our sigil onto the top of a box, and then it comes with like
Wow.
a little jar with some spell in it. I don't know, some dust, fairy dust, and crystals and fun things.
I
and
love
um,
it.
and then it comes with a spell that you can read. It's a dark moon ritual. And then the tape cassette in there. And then I believe it should be coming with some download cards as well. But the thing is that we posted them and they sold out already and they're still in pre-sale. So I have no idea. Like, I think there's
If
still cassette tapes left without the box. But I'm like, oh, we should have made more because
that's a good sign though. Like, well, this was a good creative idea and it definitely hit your audience for sure. It resonated.
yeah, it was really fun to do too. I was like, oh, I thought there would be so many more to. I keep having like people message and be like, is there going to be another release? And I was like, well, maybe if people keep asking. So,
Yeah, why
um,
not?
but I told my bandmates about the box set, and they were all like, I want one, I want one, I want one, like in the text thread, and I was like, all right.
Everybody
So
gets one. You get
I
one.
know
You get one.
I'm excited about
Goth
it
Oprah.
too.
Like, so what sorts of spells or different spells were part of this? And maybe there might be more coming. We'll see. But what kind of spells were associated with this? Is this like the craft where we can like change our hair and stuff like that? I mean, I wish I had that spell, but
I mean,
what
me
types of spells are
too.
including?
It's just one. It's a dark moon ritual. So it's just kind of like a cleansing.
Ah,
Something, nothing crazy.
new energy, new vibe.
Yeah. And it comes with a candle as well. So it's a whole package. And really simple spell. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Something to like help you connect to yourself. And I think that is reminiscent with the record. So fitting.
Anytime I've ever spoken with somebody who's at least somewhat interested in any form of the occult, like they always say that it is definitely the thing that gives them that strength. It's definitely the thing that maybe helps the meditate, helps them relax. So and then some people out there like still afraid of it too, which is really interesting. Like
I mean,
I
you
don't
are opening the door to odd energy sometimes. So I feel like
oh, okay.
there
So
is,
that's true because I was what I love these paranormal shows that show that, and I'm like, is this just a bunch of like Hollywood like hoo-ah? Like, is it really that deep? Is it really that deep? And you're saying sometimes maybe, sometimes
I
there's
mean, I don't know.
potential.
I I am like a skeptic but I'm not a skeptic. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but I like to
Yeah.
research a lot of this stuff and try to practice a lot of this stuff because I'm like, no, it's not real. But then things happen, and then I'm like, okay, I'm
Mm.
proving myself that it is real. Like when I read some astrology charts, I've predicted a few things for friends. And I
Oh.
remember taking a break from astrology for a while and I predicted a friend's divorce, which is
Oh
probably not like the
no.
greatest thing, but and then but I hadn't been practicing a while and I remember like I start remembering my friends' charts. So when there's like a transit happening, I'll like be like, oh, it's gonna affect, so and so. And then I'll like send them a text and be like, hey, be careful with, X, Y, or Z. Um, uh, but I got back into it because of that prediction. Because for a while I was just like, oh, I need a break. This is like way too much. I'm like getting way into it, and I'm just like neglecting like life things, and I can't always just like be living in the esoteric,
Yeah.
land. But yeah, like I remember one week I told Rob, our guitarist, I was like, you better be careful. You have like some Aries transits going through. I don't remember what it was, but I was like, be careful of your head. and he fell and he hit his head and he knocked himself out like 3 days later. And I was like,
Oh
oh,
no. You're like, I told you, but also, oh no.
yeah, I
Like,
mean,
what
no,
did you
he's
listen?
fine. He's fine now. But
That's good.
yeah. So there's like on occasion, like I'll say stuff and I'll be like, oh, okay. So that does happen. Like I can do that sometimes. And then sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is bullshit. Like I don't know why I'm wasting my time.
Yeah.
So it's always like this like pendulum swinging back and forth.
I hear healthy skepticism is what I'm
Yeah,
hearing right now.
I think
Healthy
so.
skepticism.
I think it's
For
built into me,
yeah.
just a skeptic in general for everything.
That's kind of the way that I lean too. Like I am curious about the paranormal. I'm curious about like spirits, apparitions, energy. I'm a believer in like residual energy. Like I believe you can absolutely walk in somewhere and feel like something bad happened and that you shouldn't be there. Do I
Right.
necessarily believe in the like ooga booga apparitions? No, I probably won't until I see one. I don't know.
Never
But
know.
you never know. I mean, if I do, I guess I'll change my mind. But at this point, I haven't. So that's why I'm kind of like a little bit cautious with some of that too. And I definitely like will not touch a Ouija board. I don't know why, but I'm
Oh
like
yeah,
I've
I
seen
won't
too
either
many
anymore. I've
really okay.
uh-uh.
So that's serious then, because I've seen everybody else talk about them, and I'm like, ooh, probably just not gonna go there at all. Like I don't want
Yeah,
to test
no,
it.
no, no. Seen things happen, not interested. And then I watched there's a like that series, the horror film series
Yeah.
Witchboard.
Oh, okay.
There's like I think there's like 4 or 5 of them. I can't remember. Maybe there's only 3, but it's like they keep trying to get rid of the Ouija board and it keeps like reappearing and they
Oh
just
my
can't
God.
get rid of it.
Ah! I'd be like,
Um,
nope.
yeah.
It's a big nope. Have you, I mean, I don't think that you tie, your interest in these things with silent mass too much. But in the moments that you have you faced any pushback just because people might be scared without really knowing what it is? Or has it really just been more a great way to find your audience?
I mean, I feel like the people who like it resonate with it and then they like kind of come into the community and, which is great. I've gotten messages and like comments and things calling me like satanic and
Oh, love
whatever.
those.
There's this
Yeah.
one person that want like Facebook Messenger. Like I don't check my Facebook Messenger like ever. So like
Yeah.
hard to get a hold of me. But I went in there one day and I was like, oh, I got to go through all this stuff. And it was just this guy just like kept writing like Satan, Satan, satanic, satanic, you're the devil,
Oh boy.
Satan, Satan, Satan. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
Like stop.
Who
Like
wa-
don't bring it on me, bro. Like
well, but like who wastes their time? Like all we have
yeah.
is time. And so you're gonna go out of your way to bother me and I'm gonna laugh about it because I don't care. Like that's your problem, not mine. Like I'm fine where I am at. Like
Yeah. Like just stop.
so
I would have been afraid that he was inviting something that I was never involved in to begin with. I'd be like, just stop.
yeah. So I don't know. I just like it's funny to me, like keyboard warriors and like people who have like negative things to say. Just like I don't care. Like, cool. This is the internet. Like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
just I don't know. I guess yeah, I just don't care. Like you can say whatever you want to me on the internet. I will be like, okay,
Okay.
just yeah, okay, I'll just ignore it or delete it or maybe I usually leave stuff if it's public because I think it's extra funny so everyone else
Oh,
can kind of see like because I feel like you're just kind of outing yourself in a way where you're just
yeah.
like showing how ridiculous you are and like I don't know, it's just
I
a
do
waste
that
of
too.
time.
Yeah. I like letting them show their own ass too. Like leave it. Like this like I know going in that it's the internet and it's just not that serious. Whatever
Yeah.
whatever happens, whatever comes of it. So I'll tend to leave it too for everybody else to get a good laugh.
Yeah. And it's like the my like I my older bands, we had like several like bad reviews, like my old bands when I was like
Oh.
younger. And we would post them because we'd be like, this is
So it didn't
why not?
deter you. You just had a good old time with them.
Oh yeah, like what's the point of living if it's not going to be hilarious and ridiculous, like
Period. So what's next for Silent Mass? What can we look forward to?
uh kind of on a small hiatus right now. Just wanted to take some time to get that cassette like spell box together, the
Yeah,
tarot
you nailed
box
it.
and yeah, I'm so happy that like I set some time aside. And then working on some vinyl. There's a label that we've been talking to, so hopefully that will be out early next year. And then maybe East Coast tour, uh, springish, late winter. I don't know. I have to figure that out. And then trying for Europe in the fall. So we'll
Fun.
see. But everything's always up in the air. I never know what's going to happen. So it's just kind of like I'm also really moody. So I'll just like decide one day that I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. And then it just like won't happen. So I like everyone always asks me plans. And I'm like, well, today, well, actually, like right this second, I feel this
Second.
way, but in like
Mhm.
1 hour, I could have a meltdown and just throw everything away and be like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, and full blown existential crisis at 34. Like
Oh yeah.
yeah, been there before many, many times. I also have these bursts of like just these random bursts of creative thoughts and creative energy and productivity. Like there's just
Yeah.
random bursts for like a week. I'll like go really hard on whatever it is that I'm working on, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like, meh. And
And
I'll
then
go,
you're
where did
starfish in your bed, just being like,
yeah.
why?
And then I'm like, where did that random where was that girl? Why can't she show up more often? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, it's the extremes. I know. It's like being like having a manic episode and you're just like, oh, I gotta do all this stuff, I gotta
Kind
do all this
of.
stuff. And then you burn yourself out and then you have to sleep for 3 months before you can do it again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was because my last instance of that, like my productivity burst, came around the summer solstice. So I was like, whoa, stars. Is there something to that? Maybe that was coming into play there. I don't know. But it
And
was
there
just
was
an
a lot
interesting
of
coincidence.
nice um, astrology earlier this year. The end of the year astrology is like not so fun, but
Yeah. We'll get through it one day at a time. Thank you
yeah,
so much, Ammo, for chatting with me about all these exciting things. I can't wait to see what's
of
next.
course. Thank you. Thanks for having me.